Good day everyone, my name is Kalyavani Gopalakrishnan, metric number is 288074. Now I'm going to start the presentation of Audit and Assurance Group Assignment. We from Group 2 will discuss about fraud and independent audit from General Electric Company. Now I'm going to introduce my group member. We have Haisha Shuhania Izati, Limbo Chin, Nur Rozia, Alif Aiman, and me myself Kalyavani Gopalakrishnan. Now I'm going to start the presentation with introduction. Accounting is the measurement and processing of a financial and non-financial information about economic activities. Accounting, also known as standard or procedure for preparing a systematic annual financial reporting. The complete financial reporting, all the information will be used by management and external user like auditor to make decisions. Based on our investigation about General Electric Company, we find out that the main contributor of the information about fraud that occurred in this company was the financial accounting reporting. There are many doubts and questions about the information that contained in the financial reporting. Therefore, an investigation was conducted and it revealed a very large amount of $38 billion as a fraud. As a consequence, we from Group 2 conduct a study on how this fraud occurred and the auditor's role in the conducting the investigation.
My name is Isha Shona Izati binti Muhammad Shukri. My metric number is 280248. Now, I want to present about company background. The company that we get is General Electric. So, the first one is GE is an international technology and finance service company headquartered in Boston, United States, US. And the second one is in 1889, GE was co-founded by investor Thomas E. Edison, best known as the inventor of the light bulb. The current Chief Executive Officer (CEO) of the General Electric is H. Lawrence, who always served as chairman of the company board of directors. HE is known for providing goods and services in the aerospace, energy, and healthcare industry. Service and goods produced include aircraft engines, generator, water and treatment technology for aviation, and magnetic resonance imaging for the medical purpose. Now I want to present about the chronology of financial scandal. In 2017, GE has been embroiled in a scandal between GE and Security of Exchange Commission (SEC). This is because the scandal has stated that GE's accounting disclosure of the insurance company and utility company divided for the principle of full disclosure. In 2018, this matter has also attracted the attention of many financial analysts, including Mr. Harry Markopoulou, who is the famous fraud investigator who exposed the Enron scandal. Markopoulou is also suspicious of GE because GE persistently generate negative figure in their financial statement. In 2019, we can see that Markopoulou began his investigation of the company with the help of an anonymous investor for 7 months. In 2019, the result of the investigation revealed is 175-page report on all his impression of possible fraud in the GE company that has been bigger than the Iran fraud. Next, in 2020, GE immediate its wrongdoing in 2017 by paying $200 million penalty to SEC. GE also still demands Markopoulou's claim in 2019. The last one is 2021. As of January 2021, the judge decided to drop most of the lawsuit filed by the company investor, shareholder, and company that claimed GE had used $38.1 million for its utility business as it did in 2017. This just rules that the penalty payments to the SEC cannot be strong evidence that GE committed fraud, but they could not file a lawsuit over how GE disclosure its losses.
Good day, Doctor. My name is Lee Moon Jin, metric number 286308. We'll continue the presentations of how the scandal impact the auditor. The scandal affect the auditor by exposing auditing failure risk of General Electric Company. Audit failure is evidenced by the fact that internal audit report of General Electric Company presents a true and fair view for non-general accepted accounting principle financial measure, lack of formal supervisions and authorizations, and fails to properly document the returning for roll-forward process, as required by Section 13B, Subsection 2B of the Exchange Act. The roll-forward process of the company eliminates the loss recognition deficiency from negative 178 million to positive 86 million. Although it is not a significant amount to financial statement, inflating the profit with the intent to deceive investors is considered fraud. KPMG's auditors should notify the appropriate authorities due to the potentials for KPMG and General Electric Company to make concessions of regulatory oversight and financial reporting issues. Auditors of shareholder vote against the reappointments of KPMG as auditor, representing the highest level of discontent with the auditor. Thus, General Electric Company and KPMG and their 111 years business partnership. Next is government interventions. Due to a number of serious material misstatements, the Security and Exchange Commissions require General Electric Company to provide external auditor with copy of the initials and final report, and shall provide professional with any detailed documentations or recommendations of financial statement. In addition, the SEC imposed a 200 million fine on General Electric Company for multiple violations of general accepted accounting principle management policy.
Hi, I'm Noroza Farah Inditi Bakri with metric number 288457. I will continue to present how the case affected to the auditor. Degradation of audit credit ratings by stakeholder. By the time SEC report was published in 2020, the auditor's reputation and credibility had diminished due to GE's 2016 and 2017 power disclosure failure. GE related changes in profit in its power business to items other than reductions in cost estimates in its service agreement portfolio, despite the fact that it was acknowledged internally that these changes were crucial to GE's reported result. Even in response to analysis inquiries about cash flow, GE did not disclose its deferred monetization practice until the second quarter of 2017, despite the fact that it had been in place since the first quarter. This indicator of fraud increased GE's inherent and control risk. As the acceptable audit risk is lower, KPMG's auditor should collect the required audit evidence in accordance with the MIA framework and guidelines to reduce audit risk. However, KPMG's auditors fail to inform investors of the risk of financial failure, causing investors to lose confidence in the auditor's professionalism. Because of the fraud, more than one-third of GE shareholders voted against reappointing KPMG as the company's auditor. Furthermore, in 2018, KPMG has been under investigation.
Now I'm going to continue on how the case affected to the auditor. The auditor was involved in the fraud case. Last point. Based on our research, we find out that the auditor, KPGM, itself was involved in the fraud case of the company. Research showed that General Electric Company have paid a large amount to KPGM to make them cooperate with the company to cover up the fraud. KPGM never indicated any negative issue regarding the company's financial statement nor reported them to governance. KPGM also helped General Electric Company to eliminate and cleans up all the suspicious information that can be found out in the financial report. KPGM failed to carrying their responsibility as the auditor that who supposed should detect the fraud that happened in the company and report it to government.
Let's move on to the other part, which is the role of auditor to prevent fraud. Firstly, the auditor must acknowledge audit risk from the financial statement. General Electric recognized revenue from a service agreement when it incurred costs, indicating a violation of the revenue recognition accounting principle. The revenue should have been recognized when GE performed the service, not when it incurred costs. These intentions were significantly exposed to the possibility of material misrepresentation. If GE's financial statements were audited with due care and professional competence, auditors would definitively find indications of material misstatements.
Next, roles of auditor is exercise professional judgments. Stakeholders rely on auditor professional because they believe auditor to present a true and fair view of audited financial statement. However, in the case of General Electric Company, the auditor was unable to provide a reasonable assurance of detecting material errors and frauds. The estimate cost required to perform its obligations under service agreements increased by more than double the amount recognized in preceding years of 2014 and 2015, and accounted for 29% and 45% of General Electric Power's reported segment income in 2016 and 2017, respectively, to investors. KPMG does not audit the financial statement using the trust but verify methodology. According to ISA 200, where the auditor is responsible for forming and expressing an opinions on the financial statements, the entity management is responsible for preparing and presenting the financial statement. KPMG should question mark proactive to assess and draw attention to inconsistencies by asking probing questions of those who govern, manage, or play a critical role and positions in financial statement preparations. Besides, auditor of KPMG should be on high alert for the risk of material misstatement in financial statement. Particularly in year 2016, one of the auditor's responsibility is to attend the meeting and inquiry about the management policy and inconsistent accounting measurement methods compared to the previous years. For example, during a meeting in year 2016, the General Electric Power Executive proposed including an industry cash flow from operations to decrease the growing deferred balance so that the stock price could reach $40 per share, and General Electric Company could meet its public industry cash flow forecast for the year. The intentions of General Electric Power Executive is to deceive investors into believing their internally misstated financial statement, in order to boost the share price to $40 per share. As auditor of the company, KPMG disclosed the unverified true and fair view of the financial statement in 2016. Obviously, the auditor had violated professional judgment and the MIA bylaw in terms of independent audit, integrity, fairness, honesty, and responsibility.
Lastly, the auditor must be responsible for the prevention, detection, and reporting of fraud, other criminal activities, and mistakes. An auditor who conducts an audit in line with international auditing standards is responsible for getting reasonable certainty that the financial statements as a whole do not include substantial misstatement caused by fraud or mistakes. The danger of failing to discover a big error caused by fraud is greater than the risk of failing to detect one caused by an error. This is because fraud can entail complex and well-planned tactics to conceal it, such as theft, purposeful non-recording of transaction, or internationally erroneous auditor statements. For example, in GE's case, GE concealed accounting fraud by changing their numbers without earning restatements and changing its reporting formats every 2 to 4 years to prevent analysts from being able to make any comparisons across time horizons, and it makes it difficult to detect.
To conclude, for us as students who studied the Audit and Assurance 1 in this session, the analysis of General Electric Company is a highly interesting topic of discussion. This company's fraud cases offer several lessons and insight on the role of auditors. A violation of auditors' code of ethics occurs when an audit firm compromises and engages in improper behavior. This casts doubt on an auditor's ability to carry out their responsibilities with honesty. In order to avoid being easily tempted by any cases, an auditor's ability in making professional judgment should be matched with a good attitude. If auditors have doubt about the integrity of those responsible for governance, they should seek legal advice on appropriate action. In conclusion, the General Electric Company cases illustrate the importance of being an ethical auditor to avoid getting involved in financial scandal. I think that's all from us. Thank you.